What's going on, everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know what it is. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast, which MSU rocks where rock and metal thrive. Happy Thursday, everybody. Today is April 22nd, and this episode is one that, oh my God. This episode is powerful, let me tell you this. My guest today is Rene Mata. Yeah, there we go. From the band Reach NYC. They are back. Their brand new EP, Back from the Dead, is available as of this podcast. Well, it's available as of April 16th, 2021, but make sure you listen to it now. Well, after the podcast, actually, because we talk about Rene's return to music, well, playing live music or playing with Reach NYC, because he's always been in music, but this episode really dives deep into different emotions and different things in regards to going through life, different mental health things. I almost said mental health things. It's just something where I'm recording this intro after we initially did the interview, and I'm still absolutely kind of shook by it because it was one of the most powerful things that I think could have been talked about. So please listen to the episode. Please take it all in. And this is one of the most, probably the most important episodes I've ever actually shot. So please welcome Rene from the band Reach NYC. Are you guys ready? Let's go! Yeah! Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. This one came across my way and I thought, neat, let's check it out. And I listened to the music. I'm like, yeah, let's see if we can make this happen. And after a couple of mishaps, here we are today. So please welcome from the band Reach NYC. Please welcome Rene Mata. So Rene, man, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
What's going on, Kevin? Happy to be here.
Happy to have you here. And what's happening here? You know, not much. Just sitting down, enjoying a nice little sports drink, I would say, and gonna be talking to you for
a nice little Poland Spring myself.
Got to make sure you stay hydrated, especially we're shooting this on a day when. And where we both are, it feels like summer outside. So
it's beautiful outside.
It is. Summer is definitely on the way. And hopefully especially because we're a year past the beginning of the pandemic, hopefully, things continue to open back up. We get back to live shows and the summer is just as good as the summer could potentially be.
Yes, live shows. I think it's definitely going to be more like live shows towards the end of the summer. I mean, I know we're on a bunch of festivals, and the earliest festival we were on was Incarnation, and it was supposed to be in July, and they moved it to September. So hopefully,
that's right. Because I know a couple of them that have been moved. Like a lot of the Danny Weir Presents ones got moved from their like spring dates back to November-ish, but most of those were in the southern part of the United States, so they can easily pull that off. Otherwise, there's some that are like up here. I'm trying to think. Summerfest, which is more.
I love that.
Yeah, that got moved from June and July to 3 weekends in September. Rockfest up in Cadott, Wisconsin, that is still a full go for July right now. Otherwise, I'm still seeing stuff like mostly September right now. Like Blue Ridge, that thing is becoming huge right now. One of my favorites, Riot Fest over in Chicago, that's still set for September. So
I love Riot Fest.
I'm hoping. Oh man, I went on in 2019. It was so much fun.
Very cool.
So as we jump into this podcast, Rene, I always like to start up by asking the guest 3 separate questions. The first 2, very easy, very nice, not troubling at all. The third one is going to put you on the spot. It is my absolute favorite. So I want to know, A, what is your name? B, when it comes to Reach NYC, what do you do in the band? So very easy, but the third one's my favorite and putting you on the spot. I want to know a little fun fact or a little wacky story about yourself that will make me laugh, potentially fall out of my chair. I have had some that have made me fall out of my chair before, and I always like to just laugh at them, and also kind of just lets people know a little bit more about yourself, and also just kind of opens up like, hey, I did that too. Because there were some times when people did stuff, I'm like, hey, I did that too. And it just was hilarious.
All right. A, my name's Rene Mata. B, I'm the singer in Reach NYC. And C, fun fact about me is that the first band I ever got a record deal for was a band called Carrot Flowers. And after they got signed and they finished making their record, which is called Songs About Jane, they changed their name to Maroon 5.
Really?
Yes.
Are you serious?
I'm completely serious. Hence the Maroon 5 platinum record on my back wall.
Oh, shoot. I didn't even notice that. Wow. I was going to say, because usually I hear just hilarious stories. I never hear something like that just kind of throws me back and say, you got to be kidding me.
Not kidding you.
And then now you've got your own thing with Reach NYC. I mean, I was looking up some stuff on it because I'd never really heard the band before I got this opportunity, was looking into it. Saw you guys were really working more in the early 2000s, then kind of disbanded back in 2004, only to pick it up 15 years later. So, I mean, it looks like you've had this long career in music that has spanned many different things. I was taking a look to see what you had done during that time. And it's just like, I've just seen a lot like bing, 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 bing. I'm like, holy crap, this guy does not stop.
What did you see?
I was seeing certain things about, I think I did see something about the signing to Maroon 5 to, I think it was Octone Records or Octane. I don't remember which one it was.
Octone Records.
Okay, and then doing an A&R job with Columbia Records as well. So I'm like, this guy keeps going. And then a potential comeback plan in 2017 with, I'm just taking a look at the list of bands that I had seen on this little press release that I got for it. And I'm just like, holy shit, that would have been one hell of a tour.
Yeah, that was I got a lot, after basically, there's the Reach story. I joined a band in 1996. We were young guys, and basically my guitarist Richie was the bass player in this New York City hardcore band called Sick of It All. And they were like this big, hardcore band, definitely, doing well and pretty humongous in the scene in New York. And the New York area scene, we had like the hardcore scene, which is like Sunday matinees at CBGB's, which was pretty much our home base for the band. Like we played there like twice a month before we got a record deal. And we slugged it on. We were like, we pretty much strayed from that scene because Richie just wanted to do his own thing. He wanted a rock band more, instead of like, just trying to like be something he would, where he came from. So basically, we ended up playing with all these bands like, that, which like System of a Down we played with. Like one year we like played right before like Eminem on Warped Tour, and we played with probably one of our closest friends is Papa Roach. They opened up for us at CBGB's, and literally like 2 weeks later they were all over TRL, blowing up, Last Resort everywhere. And then which is pretty funny is that there was this like K-Rock, the station in town called K-Rock, right? And a rock station, they played like all that new music like Korn, Papa Roach, Linkin Park, all that stuff. And Papa Roach was blown up. They were playing it was literally like they played CBGB's. Next thing they're playing this like humongous, venue called Hammerstein Ballroom, right? And it's like Snapcase, Alien Ant Farm, Papa Roach, right? So I come walking into the show. I don't even know if they remembered us, We were cool with them after the show. We hung out and stuff. And then I come walking in, the band's being interviewed like right in the as soon as you walk in. And Jacoby the singer was like, "Rene, what's up, brother?" And like totally remember me, and we're shooting the shit. And he's like literally in the middle of the interview. And he's like, "Did you guys finish recording?" I go, "Yeah." Like, you want a CD? He's like, "Yes, give it to me. We got our own label." So I give it to him, right? So we're watching the show, right? And I'm like watching the show from kind of like the balcony. And it was like probably like one of the last songs. And he stopped the song and he put like a spotlight on me, right? And he pointed at me. He goes, "Yo, everyone here, this is Rene Mata from Reach. His band is fucking amazing." And I was like, whoa, that was fucking crazy.
Holy shit. Especially... I'll say, especially for that time too, especially with Papa Roach like coming out with, you had Last Resort on there. I'm trying to think which other song was on there that was really popular. It's blanking on me right now. God, I can't think of it right now.
Like Home, Last Resort. They were just like had hit after hit.
Yeah, it was somewhere all of a sudden it was like they just kind of just blew up out of nowhere. But I mean, they've been working very hard. But it's just, of course, when it comes to just bands, all of a sudden they just have that one song that just connects with almost everybody, is an absolute smash on the radio. It seems like they come out of nowhere. It's like you said, they're opening for you guys at CBGB's, and all of a sudden now they're playing this massive ballroom within like the span of might have been a couple of weeks.
And then it was literally like maybe a month. You're like, holy. Next thing, they were like playing on top of like, how like basically back then they'd have the MTV Music Awards at Radio City Music Hall, and like all like the band of the moment about to break would play above like the entrance of Radio City Music Hall, right? So like the Foo Fighters one year played, and then they introduced a new guitarist, and Pat Smear left. So they got that coveted spot on that year on the MTV Music Awards. So like play that spot, and then also play New Year's Eve. So we were like, holy shit! They just literally opened up for us, and next thing you know, they were blown up.
Yeah, and then take a look at where they're at right now, because they went through that their initial period of just being massive, especially in the early mid 2000s. Then all of a sudden in 2015, when Fear came out, it was like the band had come back once again because that album was a smash hit. And it seems like whatever they're like right now, they're becoming more and more popular once again. Especially with I'm trying to think of the guy there, Jairus. I think it was Jairus Johnson. I think his name is. Yeah. They're starting to do stuff with him, and it's just keeping them not only just relevant, but just keeping them fresh.
Those guys are like Jacoby has to be the most underrated frontman in the world, because I've seen him blow away humongous like bands. Like seriously, he's just so incredible. The band's so incredible live, and he's been such a good friend like through the years. Like they put us on our first tour, and when back in 2003, after we finished our first record on Lava, and we had our name. It was called Reach for 54, and we basically changed it to Reach on NYC. It was because we're always like we're Reach from the NYC, and we couldn't Reach was just too hard to there was like so many things that own Reach, like Reach toothbrush, Reach all the, so it was like hard to get like that to get that name. So that's why we had 454, and we just what, the label like had us change it to like that name, and we just were never really into it. So we just like, what, when we come back, let's just be a Reach from NYC, because we're always saying, hey, Reach from the NYC.
Yeah, so just kind of put it together, and then all of a sudden everyone's going to know about it. But it's also just speaks of volumes about your band that just, you guys have this connection with Papa Roach that has spanned, multiple decades at this point. And it's just, there's that consistent connection. I mean, even on one of your first songs you came out with since coming back, you end up having Jacoby Shaddix featured on it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he if he was a garbage man, he'd still be like one of my best friends. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's such a good dude. And like all those guys, I mean, their drummer, Dave Buckner, who they're still good friends with, who was a drummer in the band, he's one of my best friends. I pretty much talk to him like every other day. And Jacoby, I talk to like every other day. We're definitely family. You know what I'm saying? Like, he'll stay at my house like every time he's in New York. It's just, we're family.
And that's very important too to have, because you're going to have these different connections where you're going to see many different people that, are playing the same style of music or playing the same kind of genre that you are, especially just going to different shows. You guys are going to have that connection overall, but just having that consistent family feel between the two of you, and between, either you and Jacoby, you and the rest of the band as well. And I mean, even back at that up to, from them to you, man, I'm starting to ramble on here a little bit, but just that connection is going to end up giving this more family vibe to, you're going to always have that support system no matter what. And then when it comes to your music, and if you're trying to, maybe work on something that might be a little bit, out of the box, heck, you can always go to those guys, and they're going to give you their complete honest opinion in a constructive kind of way. And they're going to give it to you with the most amount of sincerity possible.
Honestly, they're asking for my opinion all the time. So really, I've definitely had a few hits, like not in my band, but so basically after it all went, like we got dropped, and my wife was pregnant. I got a job doing A&R at Columbia. I pretty much worked in music the whole time. So I'm like, I got a bunch of bands signed. The last platinum record band I got signed was Lovely the Band.
Really?
That song Broken?
Yeah.
So I got them the record deal.
Nice.
They went double platinum.
Nice. And now you're back making music, and hopefully that we can get you one of those. I mean, we'll see, because I know record sales and the way that it's calculated now, it's really hard to get like a platinum record, especially as like a rock band or a metal band. But it is possible, so you never know. If you're taking all these different kind of ideas, all of a sudden you never know, come out with a brand new record, it could be an absolute smash. Yes, we're definitely, you know what? This time around, I'll tell you what's different is that we don't have that pressure on us to be like, we're not like a bunch of young guys trying to conquer the world, We're all pretty much married with kids, and, I got an awesome career, but our love in music is just like, we have so much fun playing together, and like, I've lost so many close friends in the past few years, and, we don't take it for granted, we have, when we get together, it's like
when I get together with everyone in the band, and it's Richie Cipriano on guitar, Dante Renzi on drums, Nick Cavanaro on guitar, and Danny Martinez on bass. Like literally, it's like bowling night with the boys. We're like having the most incredible time, laughing our asses off, like 85 million inside jokes. I mean, it's like like we've been like locked away when we're out like with our bros. You know what I'm saying? And it's just a good time, and we're not trying to conquer the world. And I think you could see the sincerity in our music that way. And we're just doing it for the love of music at this point. You know, it's not like our like we gotta go play. Like we're doing it because we love music and we love to play in front of people and we love to play with our friends. And that's, I mean, how we got back together was like basically, you know, my boys in POD were, playing a bunch of shows in the area, and Marcos from POD, you know, is one of my closest friends, and he, after my close friend passed away in 2017, like suddenly, it was really really jarring and sudden, and he was a singer in one of the bands that we all came up with, my buddy Chester Bennington, he was one of my best friends in the world, and obviously he was the singer in one of the biggest bands in the world, right? But to me, it wasn't Chester Bennington singer in Linkin Park. He was my bro. He was my homie. I talked to him every day, and to get news that he had passed on was I was like, he's supposed to be at my house next week. What the fuck is going on? You know what I'm saying? This was not like, I mean, literally, like, I FaceTimed him on Saturday. He said happy birthday to my niece on Saturday. He was like doing that carpool karaoke. Tuesday, we talked. He told me, he's going to go away for a few days with his family to Arizona. And then, I was going to call him Thursday, and I just like, you know what, I'm going to be with him all next week. I'll just, I'll talk to him, and I didn't get a chance to be with him that week. So it was a few years after, and I was so depressed. It was like, really hard on my soul. Yeah, it is hard to talk about sometimes, but it's like, you know what? He was one of my best friends, and it was like some rock star. It was just like he was my brother. So like to have him, like, I was literally in a meeting at Sony at RCA when I looked at my phone and I saw like missed calls by everybody. You're like, what the fuck is going on? And I literally got a phone call from. I picked up the phone. It was my friend Rob Caggiano. He's a guitarist in Volbeat, and he was just like, "What the fuck is going on? What the fuck are you talking about? What's going on?" It's like, dude, you haven't seen TV. I go, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And he like paused. Chester killed himself. I go, I mean, Sony and like my offset at the time, it was just like across the park. You know what I'm saying? Like 2 blocks. It was the longest walk ever. I was like calling Chester's phone. It was ringing. I was like, motherfucker, answer your fucking phone. It was, so anyways, it was definitely tough on me. It was tough on my family seeing me like this, and tough on my friends seeing me completely broken up about him. And Marcos just was like, dude, get your boys back together and open up for us. Sorry, man. And he was just like, open up for us. Let's have a good time. Let's put smiles on people's faces. And, we played a few shows with him, and that's how it kicked off. And next, we got a little EP deal with the Orchard, and we're putting out music again during the COVID. So, I mean, it's, you know what? He was one of my biggest fans. And one of the stories is that when our first tour was Papa Roach, right? And literally the next week, like after I said, I said yes to Jacoby bringing us on tour, Chester called me up and was like, dude, you guys got to open up for us. And I go, I just said yes to Jacoby. He's like, motherfucker. And it is like, I mean, that summer we made our record, the Reach 454 record, and they made Meteora at the same studio at the same time. Me and Chester planned it so we could hang out all summer, right? So like when I was cutting my vocals, Chester pretty much, produced and and stayed with me doing all my vocals on that record. I mean, and I had blown, it was my first record. I was blowing out my voice left and right. I was just, used to I wasn't used to like singing like 10 hours a day and shit. And he coached me through that the whole thing when he was supposed to be making his record. And I mean, the guy was just, like a brother. And there's a little while in between, like for a few years, we weren't in contact with. But like the last few years of life, it's like I felt like I just got my friend back. You know what I'm saying? And it was just, it was on. We were bros again. We were talking every day. We stay at my house. We're brothers. We planned, hang out, all the time. I mean, the guy picked me up from LA airport. Like nobody does that for people. LAX, the worst airport in the world.
Oh, I can agree with that. I have gone through there once. I was just like,
so many friends have said, just take an Uber. Yeah, I'm not going there to pick you up. This guy comes and picks me up. That's kind of brother is.
That's some dedication right there.
So yeah, it to say it was heartbreaking is like it was definitely devastating.
But I gotta say, the reason I was quiet through the whole entire thing was because I was more mesmerized by the whole entire story due to the fact that there are so many people that I talked to, so many people that I've interviewed that have been influenced, inspired, or really enjoyed Linkin Park, all the music, especially Chester's vocals. And a lot of us still remember that exact same day. And when we first saw the news, because hell, I was at work and people were telling me to go online because there was something else they wanted me to see that day. So I went to Yahoo and it was just blown up on everything, like all these different stories that people wanted to see. And it was like, yeah, we'll go read that. And then I'm just looking in the corner and I saw the little blurb on it. And I just kind of sat there and they're like, click on it. And I just wouldn't move because I just was so stuck on just the fact that I was in shock in that kind of moment because there's someone that I kind of grew up with in terms of like listening to music that was now gone all of a sudden. It just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like it was a thing, but all of a sudden 2 days later, all of a sudden it just kind of sank in. But the difference is why I wanted to hear your story and really just listen to it was because with everybody else I've talked to, we all have been impacted by it, but we really don't get to see how it impacted people that were the closest to him and to see how much of that positive impact he had, not only on the people he was close to, but then kind of connected with us and how we connected to his music, connected to Linkin Park's music. Because for so many people, just to get into any sort of rock or metal, especially from 2001, honestly, like 2008, 2009, Linkin Park is going to be a part of it. Chester Bennington is going to be a part of it. So whenever you think about it, I mean, hell, I was in Croatia in 2019. I was on a boat and we were traveling to this island in the middle of the Adriatic Sea and I had my mini speaker with me and people were talking. I'm just like, well, what can I put on that people are going to want to listen to that everyone's going to vibe to? And I'm like, okay, I'll just shuffle Linkin Park and see what happens. And as we're getting to the end of the boat trip, getting close to the dock, In the End is playing and we're right about to get to the chorus and my speaker cuts out. And everyone on the boat is singing the chorus along with us. And I'm just like, holy shit. But that was also kind of another surreal moment as well, just because, again, you're seeing how much of an impact this guy had on people's lives for the positive, and you're seeing how much his life still has an impact on so many people. I mean, now I'm taking a look at the picture in the background. I can see Chester's face right there as well above your Motley Crue Final Tour drumhead.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite pictures of us in New York City. Me and him, a big ass smile.
He always had a big ass smile, though.
I mean, you know what? It was so surprising because he's like the kind of guy that literally would walk in a room and you'd be inspired to be a better person. He's just that loving guy. Like, I mean, I've literally seen fans going up while he's eating and be like, "No, it's okay." And his mother told me a story of how, like, basically, one time they were at they went to Disney World, and no one really bothered him, but like they went to like a yoga place, and the next thing you know, there's like 200 kids out there wanting autographs and stuff. But I've seen this before, and like his son was like, really, Dad? All these people, and he's like, listen, you're gonna sit with me here, kid, and you're gonna watch because these people, if it wasn't for these people, you wouldn't have the life you have. That's the kind of guy you would have. He was. That's what he told his son. You wouldn't have
Wow.
the life you have if it wasn't for these people. And I've seen him stop eating, take pictures, stop anything, taking pictures. I mean, literally, like when he stayed over at my house, um, he had a nice swank hotel room in the city, at Soho Grand, the whole deal, beautiful, all hooked up. And he like, hey man, can I just stay? I'm like, dude, you don't even have to ask your family. You can stay in my house, right? So, but I was like, but my in-laws are here and they got the guest room. So you're literally gonna have to sleep in my daughter's room. My daughter's gonna sleep on a cot in my room, right? So literally, like, Chester stayed in like my daughter's purple princess room at the time. But he was like my biggest fan. Like I said, he always supported me. Like even when I wasn't in a band, he's always trying. My wife just walked in. I'm on a podcast. So basically, where was I? Oh, so he would like he'd always try to be like, we should play music again, or like be like, man, we guys should just get the band back together. Like the last time I saw him, he was like, I'm gonna want to do this humongous concert with like Korn, Deftones, obviously Linkin Park, Korn, Deftones, Papa Roach, POD, Limp Bizkit, like this whole crazy lineup. He's like, and you guys reach 54, open up. I'm just like, how did I get corralled in this? Always like that's how he was because he always loved the song 6 years, and then we put out this kind of like I was writing music but not taking it so seriously, and we had this project called Berlin After Midnight. It was like really alternative, more like Killers and vibe like that, and we never did like we put out 2 songs, and basically we never we didn't put pictures of ourselves. We just had 4 quotes, right? And quote 1 was Mark Ronson. Quote 2 was Chester Bennington. Quote 3 was Matt Pinfield. Quote 4 was Jacoby Shaddix. I mean, completely electric. Like Mark Ronson's like humongous pop star. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Uptown Funk. And it's like, and then Chester, the biggest rock band, one of the biggest rock bands in the world. And Matt Pinfield, legendary, VJ on MTV, and obviously Jacoby from Pop Rock. So it was pretty funny, like getting quotes from all of them. That's all we did was put out the quotes in 2 songs.
That's incredible, especially the fact that, I mean, not only that, but just because of course you have Chester and Jacoby, but then you have 2 different people from 2 different realms within the music industry to put quotes on top of that. That's going to connect with a much wider audience on that fact. All of a sudden, people are going to see Mark Ronson, especially after the success of Uptown Funk, because honestly, for me, I listen to rock and metal all the time, but I know Mark Ronson because of Uptown Funk. That's it. So there's definitely that connection there where I'd see the name, I'd been like, oh, I know what he did.
So, I've been blessed after the band first broke up to be working in the music business and, definitely getting, being a part of a lot of cool things. My main jobs, I work at this company called AAM, and I manage a bunch of, amazing producers and mixers and writers. And, I've been doing that for a few years, but I also I always do A&R consultant and get bands signed, I'm working with this band called Des Rocks that this guy's like on the edge of blowing up. I mean, this guy was unsigned with 50 million streams. Opened up, I had the guy, he opened up for Rolling Stones and did a stadium tour in Europe with Muse, unsigned.
How is that possible that this guy is not signed, especially
opening for signed now?
Muse?
But
at the time, like you're opening for Muse and the Rolling Stones.
Yes.
And you're not signed? Like, who the heck is running this stuff that's not noticing this?
You know what? I mean, listen, man, there's a lot of bands that got passed on, and this guy, this guy's a special artist. But getting back to like the Reach stuff, but that's what I've been doing.
But I mean, again, it gives us a look into what you've been doing since the initial disbandment of the band, and all of a sudden getting back together. So seeing how everything you've done has been connected to, get back that inspiration, get back that feeling of wanting to make music again, and really coming out with, I mean, so far, I think it was three rather strong songs in my opinion as well. But one thing you said earlier was one thing that really picked up my mind was the fact that you feel like you don't have to conquer the world and that you're doing this just purely out of the love for it, and the pressure on anything else is completely gone. So you have the time, you have the capability to create these songs the way you want to create them. And you don't have like some pressure of some label like, okay, it's got to be done by this time and it's got to be out by this day. So you don't have to rush anything, and you can let the inspiration kind of flow over you, and you can work and experiment with many different things, because all of a sudden maybe you want to try something where you think about, you want to put some funk inspiration in there. All right, you can explore that avenue. You can see how it works without any sort of pressure, where if it works, hey, it works. If it doesn't, well, then on to the next idea.
You know what? We actually do have those deadlines now.
Oh, you do?
It's just like this. All right. So our last single, Last Surrender, came out like a week and a half ago, right? And I completely thought it was going to be April 16th and not like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whatever it was. I just thought it was next month. And then my good friend's like, hey, man, happy release week. I go, whose release? He's like, your release. I'm like, what? And I'm like, holy shit. Our new song's coming out. I thought it was like next month. So we're doing a video for this song right now. This kid Boy Epic, this amazing director, his name is Boy Epic. He actually is. I just actually got him a record deal too with Lava Records, who we were on, Lava Republic Records. So he's doing all our videos for life.
Let's say it feels like, especially with the story that you talk about Chester, with always being appreciative of the people that have also got you there, and also people that you're connected with. I mean, like you said, like how many different bands have you been connected with or working with that you've helped further in their career as well? That's just going to be something that's going to come back, back to you only in the positive, where you're going to be the guy that people are going to want to work with. You're going to be the guy that people respect. And all of a sudden that, like with Chester, you're going to walk into a room and they're going to be inspired to be better people and inspired to better their craft every step of the way.
One of the things I definitely want to use this, coming back and vehicle for is like, definitely talking about mental health and all the stuff that a lot of artists and a lot of people, like, regular people struggle with, which is like mental health issues and addiction and alcoholism, and like a lot of our basis for the songs are like my lyrics, obviously, and they're pretty much all three of them are battles, with like, mental health, depression, and alcoholism, and and addiction.
And that's why I like especially Last Surrender as well, because I have gone through some of those moments in my life. Specifically back in 2017, I went through a massive amount of depression. And one of the things that helped me get out of that and kind of keep me positive was music. And it was just somewhere, it was the one thing that no matter what, if I was having a good day, bad day, or if it was just the worst day possible ever, it was like the one thing I could turn to that I could potentially have for a positive. I mean, hell, there was a point in time where like I just didn't know what the hell to do, and I didn't want to listen to my favorite band anymore because the depression kind of overtook that. And I literally said, fuck it, I got to find a way to get this back. So I went to go and see them live, and it was just something where it was just transcendent. It was just like I forgot about everything that was bad in life for an hour and a half. And it was just something where, again, listening to Last Surrender, it's like I can kind of relate back to that moment and how that was my time where I'm like, no, I'm not giving up on this anymore. Like, if this is how I feel at a live show, why can't I get this feeling back in my normal everyday life?
That's awesome.
It was, I gotta say, that's why I'm always big on like, pushing to get live music back, because it's just, for a lot of people out there, including myself, probably including you as well, especially being on stage, it's something where it's, especially mental health wise, it's that escape from everything else in life. It's just it's an escape from negativity in a way, through the fact that whenever people are going to see a show, people are all there to see at least one of the bands that's on the bill. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's the opener or if it's the headliner. It doesn't matter. But everyone is there because they have a positive connection with one of those bands in some capacity. So it's just that flow of positivity just makes everything great.
I mean, literally, live music is like such a humongous part of my life. I mean, working in music and just having so many friends in music. I mean, the amount of shows that I'd have to go to during a week was just so overwhelming. Sometimes I'd literally be like, "Do you just want to take my name and go and just send me pictures so I can pretend I was there?" I don't think I could get to another show this week. It's insane. But now I'm just like, I mean, literally the last show I saw before the pandemic hit was me and Rob Caggiano actually went to see Silver Sun Pickups. and it was like our last show before. And the only live music I've seen is my daughter, who was in School of Rock, who's like this incredible singer, but it's like amazing, but like I haven't seen anything. Oh, and I saw my friend Jesse Mallon do a live stream, and this artist I work with, Devora, do a live stream. But it was like, a club with like me and 2-3 other people.
Yeah, I understand that as well, because before like when the pandemic started, the last show I saw was a tour with The Word Alive, Escape the Fate, and Falling in Reverse. But then once the pandemic hit, I've seen a couple of shows with some of the bands I've had in the podcast where the shows were wide open spaces, but maybe 50 people, maybe 100 at some points. But it was something where I miss live music so much, and these bands are trying just to keep going, and I love listening to music. I want to support them any way I can. So
yeah.
I mean, I live in Milwaukee, and for the first one, I drove down to just outside of Chicago, which of course that's not bad. It's like an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's like an hour and a half. I've done that trip, yeah. Chicago to Milwaukee.
Yeah, it's easy. And the second one I did was up to Green Bay, Wisconsin from Milwaukee. That's like 2 hours. The third one, it was 2 bands that I've interviewed before. It was like right after I interviewed them too. They were playing a show in, I don't even remember the name of the town, but it was like, if anybody is from Wisconsin, it was a half hour west of Wausau, which is like in the northern central part of the state. It took me 3.5 hours to get to this show. That was at a winery. There were maybe 50 people there.
Wow.
But I was like, you know what? What was that?
Who played?
The bands were Relent, The Protest, and then the headliner band was Seventh Day Slumber.
Cool. I mean, it's just kind of crazy that there was even shows like during this pandemic.
It was all very small stuff though, because it's just if these bands were able to get out and go play, they were going to go play, and I'm like, well, I miss live music. I want to see them, but that one happened in September. I haven't seen any sort of live show since September, and I'm like, it's April right now. Like I've got the itch. Like I need to go out and see the live show. I need to get into a mosh pit. I need to break something here.
Well, you know what? Like I always love like that part of like the country when we'd get to like Milwaukee. Like we'd always play that. I think the Ravens Club. It was like
yep.
We played there a bunch of times. Evanescence, Papa Roach. I mean, so many times. And then we played. Chicago is always like one of the best cities for us too. I mean, even like on Spotify, Chicago is like our number one song on every song. Number one city is Chicago. But we definitely, and Chicago and Milwaukee, definitely big rock towns.
Yeah, that's why it's somewhere it's like the concept you're saying like, oh, I'm looking like rock, it's not that popular. I'm like, you guys should go to a show, because there are multiple times where, especially at the rave, because they got the three, like you got the ballroom, you got the club level in the middle, you got the basement down below. There's multiple other side stages around, but those are your 3 main ones. Mm-hmm. I've seen times where it's just they'll put the rock metal bands, they'll put like the metalcore bands in the basement stage. They've got like the pop artists up top. Yet there are more people that are trying to get into the basement stage, because it's like, we want to go see this show. Because that happened to me in November of 2019. Because luckily I got my ticket real early, because I forgot what pop artists they had up top. They had some other artists in the middle, but in the bottom it was Awake at Last was opening. They had Light the Torch, Fit for a King, and the headliner was Ice Nine Kills. And I was just like, there were people trying to get in left and right. I'm just like, holy shit, how the hell does this happen? How do we fit all these people in this one basement? And by the time show started first, show ended last.
Damn. Yeah, I definitely love the Ravens Club. What's that station? JJO in Madison?
WJJO, yeah, in Madison, yeah.
That station was always good to us. We played a few radio shows for them back in the day. Yeah, always a great part of the country for us.
Yeah, I've always got a little bit of a soft spot for WJJO, because that concert that I talked about where I was like, I was super depressed, but I wanted to go see my favorite band. It was like the last year their JJO Sonic Boom Festival in Janesville, Wisconsin. They had at the little Janesville airport. They just had 2 stages right next to each other in the, like, literally in the middle of the airport on the runway. It's like, yeah, you guys just go have fun. And I got there and I was camped out at this one stage. Stone Sour's playing on the next stage, and I'm just like, nope, I'm not going. I'm like, I need to be as close as possible for this and just enjoy it. And all of a sudden, Stone Sour ends. Huge migration of people. Everyone just comes from the left over to the right. And I'm like, I'm holding my ground. I'm sitting here. And all of a sudden I'm like, okay, let's just wait for it. And then Rise Against goes on. And I'm just in heaven at that point.
Awesome.
But like when it comes to like, especially this area of the country too, because I love going down to Chicago to see shows, just because it's the exact same feel, except there's a lot more people there. And there's so many different crazy venues there too. Like we mentioned with Riot Fest earlier, because I was there in 2019. It was like every stage was absolutely packed for the 7:00 shows. Because that was the headliner that the night I was there it was of course like 9:30. It was like Slayer. So of course everyone's gonna go pay attention to that. But it was during their like the shows that were right before, so every stage was packed with people. Like it didn't matter. It was full capacity. People were just packed in there like literally a can of sardines, and everyone loved it every step of the way.
Oh, I mean, listen, the last time I was in Chicago was Lollapalooza, and I was just there for 2 days, right? And I went there to go see the Strokes play, and I got Albert Hammond Jr. signed to the guitarist from the Strokes signed to Red Bull Records. So I was going there. I was checking out this. I was doing an A&R consultant for Lava Records, and also I have Death Rocks playing there, and Death Rocks played like 3 shows that day, 2 in Lollapalooza, and then went and opened up for Bring Me the Horizon.
Oh God, that's awesome!
We played 2 Lollapalooza shows, Bring Me the Horizon. Then I had this kid Evan Conrad, who's this incredible singer. He played Lollapalooza, and then he played another show that was like right next to the Metro.
Okay.
It was like a bar next to Metro he played. So I literally was watching the Strokes on the side of the stage. And like, oh shoot, I gotta go check out these other shows. I left and went to go to those other shows. But it was an incredible night. I remember I got there, like Death Cab for Cutie was playing at like the Metro, like the small, obviously a small place for them to play. It was just incredible. So many awesome bands that just like 2 days I was there. But it was awesome.
And that's what I'm looking forward to, so many festivals coming back as well, just because seeing all the bands that are going to be tied to these lineups, I'm just thinking, I'm having the same problem where all of a sudden, okay, these bands are all playing at this time. How the heck am I get a chance to see every single one of them?
I mean, look at the amount of amazing shows that got canceled in 2020. Rage Against the Machine, like Korn and Faith No More, just like insane, like My Chemical Romance, like all these bands that you want to see that haven't played in so long, just so many.
And I had tickets to so many of those shows, and even the ones that got postponed, still got the tickets. The ones that got canceled, I got the refunds for, but I still got the tickets up because I'm like, man. But
I think when live music comes back, it's gonna come out huge.
That's what I'm hoping for, and it's gonna be. I keep saying this. It's gonna come to a point in time where my bank account, and my wallet are gonna be like, Kevin, please stop this, because I'd be going to like 3-4 shows a week based on the fact that I just. It's like I've been to a show for a whole year at this point. Come on, let me live.
Cool.
But that's something I'm looking forward to as well. And I mean, like with what you said, you guys had some festival lineups that you were looking at. Are you still on those lineups right now?
The one I could definitely confirm is that September we're on Incarnation, Ohio.
Is it the Incarceration? The one at the
Incarceration? Sorry, I keep on calling it Incarnation. Incarceration. Yeah.
Yeah, because I looked at. I'm trying to think. I remember the lineup for that one. I think the only band I can remember that was on the lineup for that one, I think, was Motionless in White. But I mean,
the line. I don't think they'll announce it yet, but I know the lineup the year before that got canceled was like Papa Roach, Weezer, Blink-182, Limp Bizkit. It was like really eclectic, like awesome lineup.
Oh yeah, because I remember looking at it too. I'm like, my God, how the hell am I not going to get there? But then it was something I think it was the same week that Incarceration happened. It was like, I had something else to do, but I went to a show like that midweek beforehand here at the Rave, and I was so excited because I was like, it was Of Mice and Men was open. I'm like, I want to go see Of Mice and Men. This is going to be awesome.
Oh.
And then I find out a half hour before the show that Of Mice and Men couldn't play that night because Aaron Pauley got sick, and I'm like, okay, this will be interesting. And it was the hottest I've ever been in at the Rave. It was like 95 degrees outside, super humid. There's no AC in the ballroom, nothing.
That's horrifying.
It was incredibly hot and humid. And I'm like, okay, I'll stick around for the headliner. And it was Evanescence. And they played 2 whole hours. And in that show, because I've never been the biggest Evanescence fan, it's just not my style. I have so much more respect for Amy Lee because she put on one hell of a show with how, like, just all the energy, all the power behind her vocals, with how hot and humid it was for 2 whole hours, just didn't relent. I'm just thinking, how in the hell did you pull that off? I'm like, that's massive respect right there.
She's awesome. And we opened up for them on their first tour, and it was just so incredible. And I got to see her a few years back when they did that whole symphonic thing. My good friend Will Hunt is the drummer for Evanescence. So and my daughter is just like it's one of her favorite bands. But it wasn't when we saw them, and now it's turned into one of our favorite bands. I'm like, you met this girl. We got pictures with her. And you were just like, I don't want to go to the show. Next, it's your favorite band.
that seems to happen a lot, though. I know some people are like, no, I never want to listen to this band. All of a sudden, 2 months later, it's like, hey, man, remember when I told you I never want to listen to that band?
You don't even know. I hear her singing Evanescence all day long. And I'm just like, remember when you met them? You didn't want to go to the show. It was on a Saturday. Like, I don't want to go to see this band. And now she like loves them.
Because even after listening to their latest album, I was listening to, I'm just like, I like it, but I'm finding little bits where I'm like, I'm not necessarily liking it for myself. However, some of those pieces that I wasn't the biggest fan, I'm like, listening to that album potentially live the whole way through, that could be one of the best live albums of all time, just with how powerful Amelia's vocals could just take over the whole entire album with the backing instrumentals. I'm like, put that live, that could be one of the most like transcendent experiences ever.
Yeah, she's an incredible singer, awesome person, like so much, respect for them. And my friend who's a drummer, I mean, he's one of the sickest drummers out there. Will Hunt, insane. His drums sound insane on the record.
That was one thing that I was really pleased with on the Bitter Truth. I was like, man, because I've drummed as a kid, so that's always like I've got a soft spot for it. And I was just listening, I'm like, man, this is the way that some of the stuff that he does with the drums is how they progress the song forward with all the emotion. I'm just thinking, man, I wish I could still do that, or I could do that anyway. But I mean, because I could me drumming as a 14-year-old, that was never that I could never do anything that technical. I was just breaking drum heads most of the time and distorting cymbals because I just would hit it so hard.
Cool.
But that's my style, and now you can tell why I don't have a drum kit in here because my landlord would probably kill me.
Probably.
Even if I had like one of those E-kits, they'd be like, will you stop banging on that so loud? I'd be like, I can't help it, man.
Yeah, you can get one of those little kits that you don't hear.
I have to like soundproof this whole room to get a chance at that because again, I broke cymbals, I distorted them, I flipped them up, I smashed multiple drum heads just out of nowhere. I'm pretty sure that even with like a soft E kit, I would potentially just make just a whole bunch of noise like out of nowhere.
Cool. Well, playing music is always good for the soul. You don't even have to be a professional musician. Just playing always helps.
It is, and again, it's when it comes to Reach NYC as well as you got 3 brand new songs out there over the past couple of months. Yes. You've got one featuring Jacoby, Shaddix, one featuring Mark Morton, and then you've got Last Surrender, which is kind of like the first full on where it's just Reach NYC once again. So people are getting this full on feel of the band once again. But also, again, you got like with the one with Jacoby Shaddix. I love just how Jacoby Shaddix's vocals kind of intertwine in there. But then I still think Last Surrender might be the best out of the 3 because it just, I'm just seeing, especially with your vocals, I love the way they flow. I did do a deep dive into the song, so I'm like, okay, let's just make sure I get this right. I'm looking at my notes right. I'm like, yep, I'm right.
What's a deep dive? I want to hear it.
Okay, so I'll start out with. Do you want to start with the instrumentals or the vocals? Because I did both.
All right, let me hear about the vocals.
Okay, vocals. And in the verses, what I found out was when I listened to it, I thought you used like more of these like 2 different vocal styles. Because in the first half of the verse, you kept it more with this neutral tone, and you played really well in terms of pacing with the overall drive of the instrumental. So it had this really nice flow to it. But in the second half, you slightly heightened the pitch of the notes that you were trying to sing with, but you sing with more of this melodic style and overall pacing. And for me, this actually really worked out well because we get that consistency on this hard rock track that we're working with, but the nice smooth contrast against that drumming in the second half with the way the pacing is, but then comparing to how the guitar tones are, there's a lot of compare and contrast there, but it all pulls everything out to where the comparison, everything flows nice, but with the contrast, it's the way the vocals are and the way the drums are, it's bringing out both to the forefront.
Cool. I'll tell you one thing, it was definitely on purpose. I use my mid-range on the verses, right? Where it's like, I'm done, like that kind of like voice, like in the middle. And then, I'm bringing it up, but still being melodic and on the pre-chorus. And then the chorus, it's everything in the kitchen sink coming at you.
Yeah, because I was going to go with the chorus, but there's also the part like a little bit of a pre-chorus in there as well, where you kind of play with that same tone that you did in the second half, where you had more of that melodic feel to it in the verses. Yeah. But then you played along a little bit more with the pacing of the drums overall, so you kind of just went along with it. but keeping that pace and you realize the drums come in and then the fill that the drums use at the end to create this more epic feeling of not surrendering, it just all tied in perfectly to when you got into the chorus where, again, with the chorus, you went more melodic against the pace of the overall song, but with that heightened pitch of the vocals, it just kind of all worked out well because for me, I feels like, we're saying like we're not going to succumb to the surrendering, but the melodic style against the faster pace really works well, especially to my liking because someone that I really like to listen to, again, Rise Against with Tim McElrath, I see him do that a lot where it's like he's got the melodic vocals over the faster instrumentals. So I'd love to see how that plays out. And because even on my notes, I'm just looking right now, I put very Tim McElrath-esque right here. And I'm just thinking,
cool.
If I'm putting that on there, I like it.
Well, you know what? The one thing I could definitely say is the one thing that me and Tim have in common is that we both love this New York City band called Quicksand, right? So he loved. Actually, when I saw him in New York, he went to a Quicksand concert at Webster Hall. I'm like, oh, that's the dude from Rise Against next to us. but like there's this band. It was a post-hardcore band. It's got Walter Schefflers. And actually, Sergio is also the bass player in Deftones, and he's a bass player in Quicksand. But yeah, it's kind of like very, like I would say, it's like, very, besides being edgy, but like very angular, the guitar, like, how like, even like Rise Against has that angular tone, like in the guitar chords and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I think I have that same angular thing going on with inverted chords and all that stuff going in, not just bar chords, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and especially on like the way the chorus worked, it just worked out really well overall. And again, because for me, that's something that I really pick up on without really, again, I picked up on that ever since I started listening to Rise Against. That was one of the biggest things I really enjoyed about the band. So then always hearing that come in, I'm always like, okay, is it going to hit me very similar to like that hit me, or is it going to be something different? And of course, it could be something completely different with a different style, but is it going to hit me with the same feeling in an overall way? And of course, like I said, this felt very Tim McElrath-esque right here. So it hit me in that positive way.
We definitely have both, like my band and him both have a humongous love and respect for Quicksand, and you could definitely tell all those angular moves that we're doing with the chords. I mean, I think the song has, some of like amazing drumming by my drummer Dante, but it's definitely my sickest line my bass player ever came up with. They're like so like melodic and not following the chords. And then I definitely think both my guitarists, Richie and Nick, came up with like some awesome lines.
Oh, I think they did too. But when it comes to your vocals, like, because there was in the bridge of the song, I'm looking at my notes right now to make sure I don't fuck this up because it says big shout to Rene here. So I'm like, okay, let's make sure I get this right. Big shout to you for what you did with the vocals, especially in the first and second half of the overall bridge. Because in the first half, you kept that melodic pace up with the pitch that you did in the chorus, but then you also kind of sing on par with the changing pace on the drum fills. I'm like, we're getting this building up of energy here. Like, we're not going to lose out on whatever is going to try and, like, force us to surrender. So we're not going to lose that. So, again, you're amping up that feeling. You're really creating that, like, climax moment right there. And then the second half with just the guitar, you drop the tone and you play along with the same pace before jumping back in the chorus. And we get this valley moment that makes us feel like we are realizing that we cannot surrender. We're not going to do that. It's kind of like a oddly subtle move to make that, but it just works so well with how it kind of goes. You're feeling like you're amping up and all of a sudden you're getting that realization point. And then the chorus comes in. It's just whatever is in your way, whatever is going to try and get you to just give up on whatever you're going to do. It just can't do it anymore. You've gotten to that realization, a point where I can beat this. And then the chorus hits for the last time and it's basically vindicated right there.
It definitely, put it this way. It's definitely one on like my higher side of my range. You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely on full blast hitting those notes. So yeah, it's not like the easiest song to sing live. It's definitely on like, on the cusp of my vocal range.
But when that song comes on live, especially for people that hear it are really going to potentially get into it and really just feel that moment, that's going to be.
I cannot wait to sing that song live.
It's going to be that bridge moment where all of a sudden people are going to just really feel the power of it and get inspired to potentially look at their lives right at that moment, find that moment that is making, or find that thing, find that person that is feel like they're just going to make them, give up, surrender, whatever they want to do. And at that moment, they're going to realize it. And then they're going to hear that chorus last time. And it's going to be the inspiration for them to keep going and just to not give up on whatever's trying to basically pull them back, push them down, whatever it might be.
That's awesome. I'm glad you got that out of that song.
And well, not only that, but I think there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna get that out of the song, not only just through the title, but just listening to the lyrics and listening to the emotions. Because, like we had said earlier, and like you said earlier, when you're talking about writing music now, focusing more on mental health aspects, especially after this pandemic, so many of us have gone through certain emotions, different emotions that we've never felt before,
Yeah.
and maybe some different mental health issues due to this, or even before this. It could have been either or. But what's going to happen is we've realized this a lot more, so that we're more in touch with it. And when we listen to these songs, we can feel it, we can relate to it, not basically, maybe the exact same way you would relate to it, but we can relate to the overall emotion behind it. And we're able to relate to that. Then we're able to kind of put our own twist on it, get inspired in our own way. And then it's going to be one of those powerful things where you're going to play this live and you could potentially be seeing someone in the front row and I've seen it before too at shows, just bawling their eyes out, crying and singing along, kind of having their hand out, like just really feeling that moment. And it could be an absolute life-changing moment right there.
Well, I am, I want to, like I said, music for me is like about, really helping people and putting smiles on people's faces. It's not about me trying to be a rock star or make any money. No, I'm cool with that. I don't need that in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it happens, it happens, but it's not my main goal in life. Right now it's just, spread, love, and really, inspire people to be better. And, I'm like saying like, it's all right not to be perfect. It's okay to feel that way, but you don't have to take your life. You don't have to do that. It's a feeling and it'll pass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's one of those things where for people that are potentially going through stuff right now, when it comes down to it, it's there. You might feel a certain way where you might feel lost, lonely. Listen to music for one thing, because there are so many artists, there are so many people who have gone through the very similar things in terms of the emotions. And a lot of times, especially what I think with artists is they put, we all know they put their own selves, they put their own stories, their own emotions into these songs. But you're going to be able to potentially relate to these in some way. You're potentially, be able to understand them a little bit more, get inspired a little bit more, and maybe potentially start to heal in that moment. Or one other thing I've been saying is when you listen to certain songs, you're able to start feeling and understanding how to describe your emotions, so that if you're going to need help, and you turn to the people that you trust the most, because trust me on this, turn to the people you trust the most, because even though if you might be thinking you might potentially be like, oh, it could be a burden on them, trust me, they would much rather hear about your problems and try and help you through this, instead of not hearing about them and then wishing they could do something later. Trust me on this. I've seen this before. I've done this before.
I lived through it with obviously
Yeah.
Chester was, I had, a few friends that, committed suicide. They were like, not even like just friends, were like brothers, like, this guy, Chris Logan, he was like one of my best friends. And through high school, he just had a kid, and he was married, had a kid, and, he killed himself. And I mean, it was like out of nowhere, you know what I'm saying? It was just like, what the? And I don't think I ever really got over that. And then when Chester, passed, I think everything just hit me all at once. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was, I was like, why didn't I know? That's what I was asking myself. And why, I should have called him that night. I know I could have made a difference. And it was a lot of emotions, and I was in a really, it really fucked with my head. And I was in a depression. I was, I missed my friend. I was hating myself for like, I should have called him that night, um, like, why didn't I know? Shit like that. Like, we talked every day. How did I not know this? So yeah, it was like definitely a lot of emotions. And, I think it definitely came out, putting out this music and, really, trying to, spread that message of, it's okay not to be okay.
No, absolutely. That's, again, with the whole entire pandemic too, we've seen a lot of this. And please, if you're feeling any sort of way, please reach out to your friends. Please reach out to your family. Hell, I've had this happen before. Please even email me, to send me a DM, whatever it might be. I really don't mind if for some reason you just need someone to talk to. Please, please, please. I would rather help you out than not know and potentially have the world lose you if you're listening to this.
Yeah, and you can email me, rmat@me.com, if you're ever going through shit.
And same here, Kevin at mysongaday.com. I mean, if you go to the Emma City Rocks page, just there's a contact button. It'll go straight to my email. I get every single email for everything. So please, please, please do that. And if you need something for like maybe potentially, music that could help you through this, I've listened to a lot of it. There's certain songs where, for certain things that I've gone through, I've struggled to try and just comprehend them or try and describe them. And that's one of the beauties about music too, because you can find something that just basically perfectly describes what you had gone through in terms of the emotions. And it might not be right away, but all of a sudden, you're going to listen to a song. It's just going to hit you a certain way. That happened to me in 2020 when I was listening to the new Polaris record from that year. There was one song that I listened to. I just kind of was like, I got to go back to that and listen to it again. And it felt like my whole entire 2017, 2018 was put in a perspective right there. And it just was one of the most amazing things in the world. And now when I look back at other music as well, and even listen to Last Surrender as well, I can see the parallels between what you're talking about, Rene, and what I was going through at that time. And again, finding the moment where I'm like, I'm not going to give up. And I basically told you when I saw that Rise Against it, JJ Sonic Boom, that was that first moment where I'm like, I am not going to give up. I am not going to surrender to this. Like, this is not going to beat me because of this.
Awesome. I love it, man. That's amazing.
And again, there's so many other people that are going to connect to this as well in the same way. And I don't know how to describe it anymore outside of it's kind of truly immaculate in a way, with the way that your song is going to be able to connect with people on such a certain level, whether it's more of a, maybe not as serious, maybe it's just like a quick temporary thing they're feeling, all of a sudden it's just a little bit of motivation, or it could be something where, people have been dealing with stuff for years, not necessarily sure that, they can go on much more. And then they hear this and they finally feel that moment. This could be something, again, where you're going to have those people that are going to be at the front row of one of your shows. You're going to play this and they're going to you're going to see that just passionate connection and passionate love that they have for this song because it helped them through potentially one of the darkest days of their lives.
Well, if it can help one person, I'll be happy. And I hope it helps more than that. But you know what? I lived through it, and I've gone through it myself, and it's definitely a lonely place.
It is. So again, please listen to Last Surrender, and for everyone,
light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
If you hold on.
Yes, and for everyone listening, you guys know when it comes to these songs, I always put an overall, comprehensive, put my all feels in this, and this is what I wrote down for this one. Again, looking at a different screen that's not where my camera is, because, like I say, I write all this stuff down or type it out because I don't want to mess this up when I always relay this. So I put overall, this song has a very strong message, giving its willingness to not succumb to surrendering. The overall song has this great overall pacing, energy, build, and trance that really feels like we are not going to fall to this. The chorusing, consistent with that style of the verses, but having the drums be the defining part, is a great move to drive the point home, because then they match the fuller bridge with the verses that really amp up that energy, and Rene's vocals carry us all the way through.
That's pretty awesome, man. Thank you.
So now at this point, I can't lie, I'm looking forward to more music from you guys.
Well, you're gonna get some more.
I'm gonna get some more.
April 16th, our EP drops.
Holy shit! Okay, I'm putting that in the. So everyone watching the video, I'm putting that in the bottom because I think this podcast come out after that day. So you're gonna see the name of the EP available now, and I'm gonna make sure you guys find it.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much for this.
And well, because I feel like this is the perfect time to kind of like the way the conversation's gone, we've kind of got this all. Everyone, again, if you're listening to this, if you need to reach out to somebody, please reach out to family, friends that you're close to, that you trust. If you feel like you can't reach out to anyone, please reach out to one of the two of us. We are more than willing to listen. We are more than willing to just be there for you and help you through whatever it is. And I mean, like for social wise, just contact me on all the Emma City Rock socials. I'm on everything. I'm the one running it all. So contact me on that. We already had Rene's email address earlier. So contact.
Actually, contact us on Instagram, Reach NYC, at Reach NYC, or Rene Model Rocks on my Instagram.
I'll say this, don't worry, when it comes to anything Reach NYC, anything with yours as well, there's going to be in the podcast, either YouTube, Spotify Podcast, iHeartRadio, there's going to be something in the description that says find Reach NYC online, where I'm going to have links to every one of your socials, your YouTube, website, merch, and where they can stream the EP as well. Everything is going to be there. It's going to be a one-stop shop for everybody. I'm making it as easy as possible.
Amazing. Thank you, Kevin.
So, and before we close this out, there's one other thing I always like to add, and in terms of the podcast whenever I have a guest on that I've absolutely enjoyed having on and has been a pleasure, which basically is pretty much everybody at this point, because I love doing these. And trust me, Rene, this is no different. I've loved having you on the podcast. So this is the promise I'm making to you.
All right.
So this is when I get the chance. This is not an if. This is a when I get to see Reach NYC play for the first time live, no matter where it is. I don't know if you drink or anything, but because again, Milwaukee, there's so much beer here.
I'm actually sober, and that's what a lot of my songs are, and a lot of my friends, have fought that, addiction to alcoholism, and that's what I will have a water or a Diet Coke with you.
That's where I was going with that, because I was going to always go first round to me, or we could do what I have the deal with Keith Wall and a Breaking Benjamin. You can always go with that as well, which is first pizzas on me.
I'm down with that, brother.
There we go. I'll put this one down as that one is one of my few of the first pizzas on me. And if it's in Milwaukee, hell, before the show, I'll end up getting like 2 or 3 pizzas. There's a place that best pizza I have in Milwaukee, about half a mile away from my house. I'll go get 3 of them, bring them down to the rave, and be like, I got you guys covered.
All right. Amazing.
So Rene, on that moment, I cannot end this podcast in all good conscience by saying goodbye for a number of reasons. One, it feels like that's the end, final, finito.
No. I'll text you my number. I'll email you my number.
Awesome.
Contact. All right, brother?
Hell yeah. Because that's what I was like, you know what? I want you back in the podcast. I've got to make good on that promise of either, you know what? We'll throw in first water, first Diet Coke, and first pizza. We'll throw it all in there. We'll put it all together.
Hey, I'm going to give you, hold on. Where it is.
See, like right now, I feel like I should play the Jeopardy theme. Just
hold on. I will email you. I'm going to find your email. Do me a favor. Email me now. I'm just going to, I'll send you my number.
We'll do it after we stop recording. We'll take care of that, because we're about to end this with me saying, again, in all good conscience with all those promises, I cannot end this podcast with a goodbye, so I have to end it with this. See you later.
Take it easy, bro. See you soon.
See you soon. Ooh, well, folks. That was my interview with Rene from the band Reach NYC. Again, Back from the Dead. The brand new EP is available as of April 16th. This podcast comes out afterwards, so please go take a listen to the brand new EP, aka Back from the Dead. Please listen to Last Surrender. Other songs that are going to be on the EP that you should listen to. Please listen to Automatic featuring Mark Morton from Lamb of God. And, of course, Back from the Dead featuring Mr. Jacoby Shaddix. And again, like we said in the podcast, this podcast, we went through so much in terms of mental health, in terms of depression, overcoming a lot of things, and just really being, it's okay to not be okay. Please, 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 for the love of God, if you're feeling something like this, please reach out to the people that you trust the most, friends, family. And if you feel like you have no one to reach out to, feel free to reach out to Rene or reach out to myself as well. You can find us on our socials. Again, links are and everything will be in the description of this podcast. You can email me at kevin@mysongoftheday.com. I have done this before as well when I first started out, and the guy actually emailed me saying, like, we were talking for a while, and then all of a sudden he stopped to email me. He's like, hey, man, I've got my life back on track. Just thanks for talking to me. And I was kind of blown away by it, honestly. It was something where, again, please, 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 we would much rather have you still here with us than not have you at all. So please, if you need somebody, please feel free to reach out to us. If you feel like you have nobody, please reach out to family and friends as well, because they would much rather have you here than to not have you here. Please. So on that note, that's going to be for me today, guys. Thank you for watching and listening to the Chord Progression Podcast with most of you rock and metal thrive. My name is Kevin, and you guys know I end every single one of these episodes with a big, healthy, and hearty see ya! Yeah!